Tonight, before you go to sleep, your room will probably stay warm. You might hear rain outside, maybe wind against the window, maybe nothing at all. But somewhere inside your walls, hidden pipes will carry heat. Electricity will keep the cold away. Your refrigerator will hold enough food to survive for weeks. And if a blizzard comes tomorrow, you'll probably treat it as an inconvenience. You will still eat, still sleep, still survive. But for most of human history, winter was not a season. Winter was a test. A test so brutal that for hundreds of thousands of years, one mistake could erase an entire family line forever. A single failed hunt in December. A fire that went out at midnight. Wet clothing in freezing wind. A child getting sick at the wrong time. Any one of those could kill you. And yet, somehow, ancient humans survived. Not for decades, for ice ages. For over 300,000 years, human beings endured winters far colder than almost anything most modern people will ever experience. Long before houses, long before supermarkets, long before central heating. So how did they do it? The answer is one of the greatest survival stories in human history. Because winter didn't just shape human beings. Winter created them. To understand this, you have to forget everything you think you know about cold. Modern humans experience winter in fragments. We walk from heated homes to heated cars to heated buildings. We encounter cold for minutes at a time. Ancient humans lived inside it, and the ancient world was colder than ours, much colder. During the Ice Age, massive glaciers covered enormous parts of Europe, Asia, and North America. In some places, the ice stretched over 2 miles high. Entire landscapes disappeared beneath frozen sheets that slowly crushed forests and reshaped continents. Sea levels dropped so dramatically that humans could walk from Siberia to Alaska across land that no longer exists. And south of those glaciers, the climate was still vicious. Winter temperatures regularly plunged far below freezing. Storms lasted for days. Food vanished. Rivers froze solid. The world became silent, dead, white. And every year, ancient humans faced the same terrifying question. Can we survive until spring? Archaeologists believe early humans planned for winter constantly, not just physically, mentally. Because unlike other predators, humans are not naturally built for cold environments. We don't have thick fur. We don't hibernate. We aren't especially fast. We can't smell prey beneath snow. A human being alone in Ice Age winter would die remarkably quickly. And that may be the single most important clue to understanding humanity itself. Humans did not survive winter because we were stronger than nature. We survived because we learned to survive together. That changed everything. Around 400,000 years ago, evidence begins appearing across Europe and the Middle East, showing something remarkable. Humans were building hearths inside shelters, not random fires, permanent ones. At sites like Beech's Pit and Kesem Cave, archaeologists found layers of ash and burned bone showing that humans maintained fires continuously, sometimes in the exact same spot for generations. This was revolutionary. Because fire wasn't just warmth, fire was stored sunlight. A campfire allowed humans to carry summer into winter, and maintaining that fire became sacred. Anthropologists studying traditional Arctic cultures discovered something fascinating. In many societies, letting the fire die was treated almost like a moral failure. Because restarting a fire in freezing conditions was incredibly difficult before matches existed. Imagine waking at 3 a.m. during a snowstorm 20,000 years ago. The fire is dying. The temperature is dropping. The children are asleep. Wind is entering through cracks in the shelter. And outside, the darkness is absolute. Someone has to keep feeding that fire every night for thousands of years. Some researchers believe this responsibility may have transformed human sleep itself. Instead of everyone sleeping deeply at once, groups likely rotated light sleep around the fire, creating overlapping periods of rest and wakefulness. In other words, humans may have survived winter because somebody was always awake, watching, listening, protecting the tribe from freezing to death. But warmth alone wasn't enough. The real challenge was food. Winter destroys the world humans depend on. Plants disappear. Fruit rots. Animals migrate. Daylight shrinks. And the human body becomes desperate for calories. Your brain alone burns enormous amounts of energy just to stay alive. Add freezing temperatures, and survival becomes a constant mathematical problem. Can you eat more energy than the cold steals from you? Ancient humans solved this problem with one of the oldest technologies ever invented: fat. Not meat, fat. Modern people often fear fat, but to ancient humans, fat was life itself. A single gram of fat contains more than twice the calories of protein or carbohydrates. In winter, that difference meant survival. Archaeologists have found evidence that Ice Age humans specifically hunted enormous animals rich in fat reserves: mammoths, bison, reindeer, woolly rhinoceroses, and they used everything, not just the meat. The marrow inside bones was especially valuable. Ancient humans smashed open massive animal bones with stones to reach the fat-rich marrow hidden inside. At some sites, archaeologists discovered entire fields of shattered bones, evidence of organized marrow extraction on a huge scale. Even the brains of animals were consumed because they contained precious fats necessary for survival. Nothing was wasted. Skin became clothing. Sinew became thread. Bones became needles. Fat became fuel for lamps and fires. An animal wasn't just food. It was winter itself, transformed into survival. And then there was clothing. This is one of the most underrated inventions in human history. Because humans didn't conquer cold by changing their bodies, they conquered it by building a second skin. Scientists believe tailored clothing may have appeared around 170,000 years ago. We know this partly because of lice. Not a joke. Genetic studies show that body lice evolved from head lice around that time, and body lice can only survive in clothing. Which means somewhere in prehistory, humans started wearing fitted garments consistently enough for an entirely new species of parasite to evolve. That moment changed history. Animal hides trapped warm air close to the body. Fur-lined boots protected feet from frostbite. Layered clothing allowed humans to move through environments that should have killed them. And sewing needles found in Siberia dating back over 40,000 years suggest these clothes were surprisingly sophisticated. Not crude blankets. Engineered survival gear. Think about that. A human being standing in a frozen landscape during the Ice Age was not simply enduring nature. They were wearing the intelligence of their entire species. But perhaps the most important winter technology wasn't fire or clothing or hunting. It was storytelling. Because winter created something humans had rarely experienced before: time. During warmer months, survival required constant movement, hunting, gathering, migration. But winter trapped people together for long periods inside shelters and caves. And in those long, dark nights, something extraordinary happened. Humans began talking, not just about survival, about meaning. Anthropologists believe winter may have accelerated the development of language, myth, religion, and culture itself. Because around the fire, in darkness filled with wolves and storms, humans began explaining the world to one another. Why does the sun disappear? Why does cold come? What happens after death? Who are we? Some of humanity's oldest known cave art appears deep underground in places like Lascaux Cave and Chauvet Cave. Many researchers think these spaces held spiritual meaning. Imagine entering one of those caves during winter 30,000 years ago. Outside, snow covers the world. Predators move through darkness. Children huddle near firelight. And deep underground, illuminated by flickering animal fat lamps, someone paints running horses across stone walls. Not because it helps them eat immediately, because humans needed something beyond survival. They needed hope. Winter may have taught humans something no other season could. That darkness ends. Every year, the world appeared to die. And every spring, it returned. That cycle shaped the human mind profoundly. Many ancient religions and myths revolve around death and rebirth, light returning after darkness, life emerging from cold. And it's possible those ideas were born during winter itself, because surviving winter changes the way you see existence. It teaches patience, preparation, cooperation. It teaches you that survival is fragile, but it also teaches resilience. There is another detail about ancient winter life that modern humans rarely consider: silence. Winter before civilization was unimaginably quiet. Snow absorbs sound. Forests become still. In freezing temperatures, even insects disappear. No engines. No electricity. No distant traffic. No glowing cities beyond the horizon. Just wind, breathing, fire cracking in darkness. And above all of it, the night sky. Ancient humans saw stars we can barely imagine now. The Milky Way wasn't faint. It blazed across the sky like frozen smoke. And during long winter nights, humans watched it for hours. Some researchers believe astronomy itself may have originated partly from winter observation. The stars became calendars, navigation systems, seasonal warnings. When certain constellations appeared, humans knew cold was coming. The sky became survival information. But despite all this ingenuity, winter still killed enormous numbers of people, especially children, especially the elderly. There are prehistoric burial sites where entire groups appear to have died during harsh winters or sudden climate shifts. Ancient life was not romantic. It was brutal. And that's important to remember. Humans survived winter not because nature was kind, but because generation after generation refused to surrender to it. Every technique humans developed, sewing, firemaking, food storage, cooperation, storytelling, came from necessity. Winter forced humans to become planners, to think ahead, to imagine the future, to prepare for suffering before it arrived. And, in many ways, civilization itself may have begun there. Not in comfort, in cold. Even today, your body still remembers this ancient struggle. When winter comes, many people feel more tired, more reflective, more withdrawn. Scientists call part of this seasonal affective disorder. Reduced sunlight alters hormone production, mood, and sleep patterns. But perhaps some small part of the ancient rhythm still remains inside us. For hundreds of thousands of years, winter meant gathering close to firelight, conserving energy, staying near the people who kept you alive. And maybe that memory never fully disappeared. Because evolution is slow, your nervous system still carries traces of worlds that no longer exist. The fear of darkness, the comfort of warmth, the peace of firelight, the strange quiet feeling that arrives during snowfall. Those emotions are ancient, older than cities, older than agriculture, older than history itself. Tonight, winter probably won't threaten your life. You may complain about the cold for a few seconds before turning up the heat. But somewhere deep inside your biology is the memory of people who faced winters so harsh they should not have survived them at all. And yet they did. They crossed frozen continents. They kept fires alive through endless storms. They wrapped their children in animal skins. They told stories in caves while ice covered the earth. And somehow, across thousands of generations, every single one of them survived long enough to become you. Winter was never just a season. It was the force that forged humanity.